So I just wanted to bring it up to you, so you're aware that there are talks.
They're not coming in.
Just and since you sit on that board with Bill, he'll probably bring it up to you next time you see him.
Yeah.
Just to make you aware that these things are happening, and because we don't know what we're gonna do to transition just yet. You know,
That's a good angle to look at, though.
because if something were to happen where we were to combine all three together, or some jump in with Otter Tail, then
Yeah.
who would we hire another Kathy Langer?
You're recording? Good morning, everyone. We're going to introduce some of our new staff now. Feel free to come up and,
Looking at options. And, just letting you know that be aware.
Started like 6 months ago. This is Ashley Gillespie. She's our adult protection social worker. She also started like 6 months ago. And this is Amy Brill, who's the FIDA co-response. And she started like a year ago, so it's pretty late.
welcome to Tack County, a little late.
Yeah.
Belated. Derek, who you got?
Paige Plouts, she's doing child protection case management. And then we have Cindy Graham, and she's doing permanency and child foster care licensing for us.
They both started last month.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you for all joining our team. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
in 2025, it's 9 a.m. We're going to begin our Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Present today are all commissioners as well as our county coordinator and our auditor treasurer. At this time, I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to ask if there are any amendments to the agenda today.
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Wonderful. Then if the commissioners looked at it, I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Oh, I'll second.
Nazca on the motion and Denny on the second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carried. Item number 4 today would be our potential consent items.
Today we have meeting minute approval for July 1st, 2025. Hire Doug Roku, full-time investigator, start date to be determined. Hire Megan Silvage, administrative assistant, start date to be determined. Hire Kyle Costine, part-time jailer, start date to be determined. Hire Aiden Gulberson, part-time jailer, start date to be determined. Hire equipment operator David Geisenhoff, start date to be determined.
So a total of 6 items there. We would need a motion to move forward. Thank you, Commissioner Becker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Newman.
Go ahead, Randy, you take it.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 5, our county auditor treasurer.
Today I have the auditor warrants for June 2025. Background was sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the June 2025 auditor warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $5,329,678.55.
Okay, we have the auditor warrants for June of 2025 and the amount stated on the BAF. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Danny. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Becker. At this time, we'll have a roll call.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Next item I have then is the commissioner warrants. Background again was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $61,996.27.
Okay, agenda item 5.2, commissioner warrants in the amount stated on the BF in front of us.
I'll make a motion for approval with a question on one part of the warrant.
I'm not sure I heard all that.
Making a motion and she says she's questioning one item on the warrant run.
Okay.
Okay. It's the Evans Council Incorporated, and for dispatch chairs, we paid $3,938.30 for 2 dispatch chairs, which amounted to $7,876.60. Just clarification, was they just chairs?
I believe so.
Isn't that awful expensive for chairs?
I would have to look at what they got.
The total amount of the warrant was 7,000?
Yeah.
7,000, because that's, anything over 5,000 has to come before the board, so prior to being,
Separate chairs.
so I thought it was 3,900 for both.
Oh.
Okay, well,
So how do we, I mean, these have already been purchased and paid for, I presume?
well, no, that's what you're approving today, is the commissioner run. So we have the file ready to print the check today when you vote on it, because then we have a 3-day holding period, and the checks don't actually get mailed till Friday. That's by law.
Is there a way that someone could verify this? The amount sounds like you think it was 3,900 for 2 chairs. I mean, we can pause for a second.
It was 7,800 for 2 chairs.
Okay. Do you have a contact that, otherwise I can reach out to Jolene and have her pull the warrant, actual
I mean,
warrant?
to me, just,
It's an expensive chair.
and I don't know if it was just chairs or.
A sectional recliner.
Okay.
That come out of 911 fund?
2 chairs, 30, she just already messaged me
Okay.
because she's listening. 2 chairs, $3,900 each.
Yeah.
So that is correct. So,
Okay, so you've made a motion with question.
That's correct.
that's the board discretions to approve or not approve. The procedure is the department head makes the purchase and then sends the claim to my office to be paid. So the department head is responsible for signing off on these, following county policy. So I guess I don't know anything about the chairs. I don't investigate the claims as to the want or the need or
Yeah, I'm just
justification.
questioning it
We can
because it
consider them
seemed
two separate chairs.
very
or
outrageous.
Consider them one purchase.
for 2 chairs. And was it one check? I mean, should it
Well,
have come
that's what
before
the
the
warrant
board?
is saying. That's what the warrant is saying, that it's one payment, but, and yes, it was paid with E911 funds and so, that's the board's discretion. That's why we bring these present for you to discuss.
Well, it sounds to me we have a motion to approve with question, which
Right.
we still have a motion.
So the motion
It has to be seconded, right?
Yeah.
And then we're asking for clarification, or should this have come before? We got to pay these people.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Randy, anything you want to say?
I think we should clarify that. I mean, there is a process we have to follow. And I mean, damn it, we gotta start following the process.
we can pull the warrant from this run and still run the run, and then just get clarification. It appears John Barber signed the voucher, and it was all in one payment.
So you,
So over 5,000 should be.
you're suggesting, or there is a suggestion that we approve with the run without this particular payment?
Yep, we can
And then get
put a hold
clarification?
on this specific
And
payment.
is that what I think you're asking for?
Yes.
Okay, so we will approve this.
Well, I still need a second to
Yep.
approve.
I'll second it.
Randy's going to second that. Any discussion? From the right or the left? The center?
I guess I get a little discussion. If we could though, since it was just over the $5,000, thanks for catching that, Barb. Can we just get it brought to us to approve it if we need to, so we can review them? Because there's a process.
Yeah, I know that 2 chairs are all arrived, and they're sitting there.
Okay, they're already.
They're there
They're
already.
there. I know that, they're probably higher quality chairs than.
Oh yeah.
Than these, because these dispatchers sit in them for 12 hours a night.
Buy a freaking car.
So, that's what I know.
Right.
Okay, so any further discussion?
So the motion is being presented and approved with your recommendation to hold the payment until,
To August.
Can we do that?
Well-
We've got the chairs already.
How do we do that at this point? That's what
Right.
because the chairs are already there.
What might I recommend that we move forward with the motion to approve the warrants as you guys have proposed, and with clarification, and then the finance and I, and Tim will meet with John or Barbara or whoever is needed and get clarification for everyone. At that point, we can clarify if there was a process that should have been changed or didn't differ. And everyone will have their answers, and we'll have chairs, and we'll pay our vendor when the time's right, and make sure that we do this. Yeah.
at this point, we don't have a policy, though, to wait until the next month. So my recommendation as auditor would be make the payment, review the process that was handled in this purchase with the department head that signed off, just so they're aware of it. So the payment gets made, the chairs are already here.
That's the
just
thing.
a-
You don't want to have a some credit out there that we owe.
Right.
And
That's
I'm
bad.
sorry, I was
That's
not
bad as
aware
well. That makes us look bad.
Right.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. We had discussion, we did not take a vote. So at this point, the suggestion from our finance team is to make a motion to approve the entire run with a discussion to be held later, soon, very soon here, with the ordering team and the commissioners and the finance.
Yeah, I think that,
Just so they understand the process of protocol as far as
yeah,
purchases.
because, I mean, this is,
Okay.
to me, a lot of money for 2 chairs.
Well, maybe they're more than chairs, who knows? Okay, so we need a motion to approve the entire run as is, and then we'll dig in a little bit.
Yes.
I'll motion to approve the entire run as is, because I know we need to pay them if we've got the chairs. We can't just, you can't just sit on them.
Oh, we already made a motion.
That's the way
But
it
Barb
goes.
already made the motion, so.
But I already made the motion, so,
I had said that we made a motion, it was seconded, it did not get voted on.
no.
No. So you're just calling for the vote now?
I'm calling for a vote to make on the main, Lou's making a motion to,
Oh, cancel mine.
He can't, because we already have
have
a
to vote on
motion
that one first.
on the table, and we have a second.
Okay.
So as chair, you just need to call for them, and we're gonna do roll call.
we'll
so
call, okay,
everybody
we'll
can
do a
say
roll
how
call
they-
vote then. On the motion to pay,
As I'm making the motion, the first motion, can I restate my motion to
Yes,
pay for the full run?
yes, that's what you need
I'll
to clarify.
restate my motion to pay for the full run with, look into what happened with this chair.
And that's okay with me. Seconder, yep.
Okay,
at this point, we'll take a roll call vote on paying the whole amount and discuss it more later.
perfect. Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Naska?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Okay, and my next item then would be the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. Background was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $144,962.11.
Thank you. Item 5.3, Health and Human Services Commissioner warrants, and the amount stated on the board action form. Would I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
And Commissioner Noska on the second. Would we take a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Naska?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker? Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
The next one is Health and Human Service SSI warrants. Background was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $75,296.47.
Item 5.4, Health and Human Services SSIS warrants, and the amount stated on the board action form. We would need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Commissioner Denny on the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Becker. Any discussion? How about a roll call vote?
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Naska?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
The last item I have then today is Initiative Foundation Annual Contribution. Background, the Todd County Board of Commissioners have budgeted for an annual contribution to the Initiative Foundation in the past budget years. The Initiative Foundation is requesting confirmation on whether the contribution will continue for the 2026 budget year, matching the previous year allocation of $7,500. Your options are to approve an annual contribution for the amount you wish to set for the Initiative Foundation for 2026, or do not approve. The recommendation is for you to approve an annual contribution in the amount of whatever dollars you choose for the Initiative Foundation, and we'll fill that in as you so choose.
Thank you. So we're look for a motion to approve this donation to the Initiative Foundation. Last year was $7,500, and this year is up for discussion. Would there,
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we keep it at 7,500.
motion to contribute $7,500. Are there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Noska. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take this is a roll call, no?
No.
Just a regular. All right, hearing this discussion, no discussion, we'll just take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And item number 6 on our agenda today is the county attorney and his job descriptions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the board is aware, historically, we had a legal fiction of a job description in our department to accommodate one of the senior attorneys. There was a distinction made between an attorney 1 and an attorney 3 to give that senior attorney a higher rate of pay, with really no difference in duties. We're in a situation now where all of the assistant county attorneys are doing the same work, and given the new salary scale, there's no need for the differentiation between attorney 1 and attorney 3. The two current ACA 1s have a job description that has already been approved by this board, and are each at a salary, a grade and step approved by this board. The current ACA 3 is at the same grade and on her own step. So asking the board to eliminate the assistant attorney 1 and 3 job descriptions, leaving only the assistant county attorney position, which is the one that's, again, being held by the current ACA 1s. The ACA 3 would by default go to the current ACA position, which again is exactly what she's doing anyway. And then on the next board item, the new hire, if approved by the board, would also be an ACA, again, without distinction between 1 and 3. So ask the board to approve the motion to eliminate the ACA 1 and 3 job descriptions in favor of just the ACA description.
Very good. 6.1, eliminate. I need a motion to approve to eliminate Assistant County Attorney 1 and 3 job descriptions.
I'll motion to approve, eliminating the just job descriptions for County Attorney 1 and 3.
Motion by Commissioner Noska. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Denny. Would there be any discussion at this point?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm assuming this is gonna supersede a previous board action somewhere along the line where the board voted to create the 1 and 2 job descriptions, or 1 and 3 job descriptions.
That was my next question to HR is, does this eliminate those job descriptions? And then also does it, we need to update their job titles because those individuals are classified right now. So would there be a board action need to be presented by HR to update their?
Because the board has to approve a title change, so.
Can I change my motion?
That's fine. I'm
To
just
approve title
saying.
changes to ACA as well? Okay, I'll start over.
Wait. I just want to make sure we have it right.
Mr. Chair, if there's a way that we can take care of all of these things right now by amending the board action, I would wholeheartedly support that.
Yeah, so with this proposed transition to just the ACA job title and eliminating the 1 and 3, we would need board approval to update job titles for the following employees to standardize the title of Assistant County Attorney. Jane Gustafson would go from Assistant County Attorney 3 to Assistant County Attorney. Chris Brigman would go from Assistant County Attorney 3 to Assistant County Attorney. Alexandra Meyer would go from Assistant County Attorney 3 to Assistant County Attorney.
Okay.
Okay, can I ask a question, Nellie? Nellie, are they on different pay scales then? Or are they all on the same pay scale?
They're all on the Assistant County Attorney will be one pay scale.
One
They're
pay scale.
all,
So-
on, yep. There's no tiered system anymore.
Okay.
Yep. And Mr. Chair, this is what I think Douglas County went with, straight across the board, so.
In which the Assistant County Attorney job description was already approved at a different board meeting. So now we're just bringing back to eliminate the other two.
Okay. Do we need to restate our motion,
I would
parliamentarian?
ask Commissioner Noska to have what Nellie presented added to the BAF, and then she can draft a new one.
So that the title changes, everything's wrapped into one and we don't have to come back.
Got it. Yes.
Does the team think that's a,
Yes.
I see head shaking in the up and down direction.
Yes, we're good.
Okay.
With that.
And so that's your motion.
Yeah.
You don't have to repeat it. You know,
I don't know
Nellie
if I want
stated
to.
it for public record. We got it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go with the second on that still?
Yeah.
Okay. And any other discussion on that? Good job, everybody. So let's take a quick vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Item 6.2 is hiring of Christopher Matthews ACA.
Thank you, Mr.
No
Chair.
numbers.
I've never been more happy to bring a board action to this board's attention. In September of 2023, we lost an assistant county attorney to the public defenders when the public defenders raised their salaries by $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and this person with a young family couldn't ignore that, and so as much as he liked working here, he took a leap and joined the public defenders. He found out that the public defenders, it's a really hard job, and he wasn't happy, so he went to a different county attorney's office, again for more money. And meanwhile, his position was open for all but 4 of the last 22 months. I'm so pleased to announce that in light of the new salary scale and the consolidation of the county attorney positions into one class, that attorney, Chris Matthews, has applied to come back and take his job. And so it's with just all the happiness and joy that I could possibly express that I asked the board to approve of hiring Chris Matthews as an assistant county attorney, grade N, step E, starting Monday, August 11th.
Okay. 6.2, hiring a full-time assistant, ACA with no numbers, right? Just ACA. Christopher Matthews, start date of 8/11/2025. We need a motion to do that.
I'll motion to approve hiring full-time Assistant County Attorney Christopher Matthews.
Thank you. And a second to move another step forward.
I'll second it.
And we have a second. And I'll open up for discussion. Okay, here no discussion. We'll take a quick vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. There's a large caseload of hundreds of things that are going to get taken care of in a very timely manner, and all of our nuance things that come up above us. And Adam, you know what I want you to do.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This is the best possible outcome. And I know that I was difficult waiting for this day to happen, but God is good, and this was how it was meant to be all along. So again, thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Okay, next up, facilities, right? Mitch, I'm sure you have some great news for us. Let's hear it.
Good morning, everyone. My topic this morning is the historic trim project. The background is after going through the process of approval for the historic trim with SHPO, bids were submitted for the project with the low bid from High Tech Construction for a total cost of $364,000. The options are approve the low bid of the historic trim project from High Tech Construction for a total cost of $364,000, or do not approve request. The recommendation is to approve the low bid of the historic trim project from High Tech Construction for a total cost of $364,000. In the comments, I did put, this project, obviously, because we were on the historic registry, we had to go through the process to make sure the materials, the labor, how we were doing everything was in compliant with SHPO, which is historic. Obviously, this building is. So we did that. And then the fund implication is the building improvement funds. You can see in the comments that we have $96.88. Wow. I did take into consideration a few items that are still out on that particular budget line item. We have a few things that need to come out of there yet, the parking lot project, and there's some other items that need to be wrapped up. If the board were to approve the historic trim project, we're looking at roughly 300 and some thousand in change is what we'd be looking at left if this project was approved. So again, that's if we do the trim project, we'd be left with 1,300,000 and some thousand left in that account. That's with going through my budget line items that have already been approved to come out of this account. I just want to make the board aware of that and where that amount sits.
Thank you, Mitch. Definitely could have been worse. So, board action form ahead of us. We need a motion to approve or discuss, whatever you want to do.
I'll make a motion to approve it. I can't figure out why it wasn't done the first time, but
When was that?
when we redid this whole place.
Oh,
I'll second Randy's motion with the second for discussion. The number they came in at was substantially lower than everyone else.
So this is why we do the process of the low bid, and this is why I recommended it the first time I was here at work session. It's all about timing, right? There's competitive bids when we go to low bid. That's why we do it. Sometimes the utilization of Sourcewell, which is what was appropriated the first time, they can be very beneficial. And in this case, I felt that going out to low bid was the best bet for us this time. And thankfully for me and for all of us, it worked out. We're quite a bit lower than what I anticipated. There was a little bit of range of bids on this particular project, but it's very difficult to access, as we all know, and that sometimes can vary the bids. Some people can see it very different than others, so.
Well, and we see High Tech right down the road.
Yeah.
Right down the road with those guys. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little easier to transport your guys and your crew here when you're,
the mobilization
when you're
is
6 miles
definitely
down the road. So, yeah.
a big part of it, so.
Right.
If I could ask, Mitch, does this include the trim around the outside from the pictures and so forth in here?
Yeah, the attachment called out, and I brought that to work session the last time too, and for some reason this does not want to translate very well, but anything in the highlighted areas, the one thing that I would like to point out, we did these windows in this particular area, the cupola windows, those type of things. The Historic Society said that it was a no-go on new windows. We do have to rebuild the windows, so the glass will be taken out. The frames will be going onto new wooden frames. We wanted to use the vinyl product, which we're using with the trim, but unfortunately, they did not. That was not allowed in their specs. So we had to change our spec book up a little bit and make sure that we do that. So that's the only thing that was really changed. They are letting us use a composite base for the rest of the actual trim itself. It's just the trim of the windows itself will remain in a wood product and be basically handmade from there on out. So, pretty pleased with their response on it. And it's an interesting project to say the very least.
Yeah.
great. Any other discussion? All right, hearing no other discussion, we'll take a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Carried.
Thanks, Mitch.
Next agenda item, County Sheriff, correction to a board action form previously.
Good morning, Commissioners. Board action form presented for you on Board Action Form 2025-0701-19 was adopted by the County Board on July 1st. It lacked critical information being the wage of that position. So we're asking for that to be fixed. The options are to adopt the corrected version or do not adopt, and our recommendation is to adopt the corrected version of Board Action 2025-0701-19 to hire Chris Manders for the full-time jailer position, start date to be determined for grade 6, step 1.
Okay, agenda item 8.1 is a motion to adopt the corrected recommendation of board action form 202-50701-19. We need a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve it with the correction.
Thank you, Commissioner Denny. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Noska. Any discussion?
Yeah. You said that you had misinformation in the,
No, just the wages was
Missing.
not on the board action.
okay.
Commissioner Becker, this was one we added, we amended that morning on July 1st.
Okay.
And so there was context of the BAF that was missing, the wage was missing, which for public record we need on there, and his name was listed as Chris Manders, and we have to have proper names. So proper name would have been Christopher. So we called this out after the fact, because it was that morning of that we were putting it on at the last minute. And so those things weren't caught. So we're doing a
But the
correction.
grade and the step is correct, as listed in the salary. Correct?
Yeah. So it's not a correction to the wage, it's a correction to the BAF to add those items.
Okay.
Correcting his name to proper name and adding the pay rate.
Good question, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll take a quick vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Mike. Mike.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
Morning.
First item this morning is the Shemaya and Wiener request for rezoning, an application for rezoning on parcels 2100-18900, 2100-18909, and a portion of 2100-18908, which is the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter and the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter. Section 18 Round Prairie Township was submitted on April 22nd. Request is to rezone this from R2 to AF1. The application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the June 5th public hearing. The final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the rezone with the condition below. Options are to grant the rezone, deny the rezone, or remand it back to the Planning Commission. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the rezone on the identified parcels from R2 to AF1 with the following condition: that the establishment of feedlot shall require registering with the county feedlot program. This is an item that we had from previous meeting to get some input on the impacts to the airport there. I reached out to Silas Parmar, who is the engineer for the airport on behalf of the city. His response to me that portions of the parcel identified are located in MnDOT Safety Zone A. The restrictions for Safety Zone A are as follows. Zone A shall contain no building, temporary structures, exposed transmission lines, or other similar land use structural hazards, and shall be restricted to those uses that will not create, attract, or bring together an assembly of persons thereon. Permitted uses may include, but are not limited to, such uses as agriculture, horticulture, raising of livestock, animal husbandry, wildlife habitat, light outdoor recreation, which is non-spectator, cemeteries, and auto parking. So raising of livestock is a permitted use in Safety Zone A. If you have any additional questions or comments, let me know. And then I just have the airport ordinance here, which is word for word exactly what is in the airport ordinance. And that's the additional information I had on that.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 9.1 is the Shemaya Wiener request for rezoning. We have a recommendation to approve the rezone. We need a motion to do that.
Mr. Chair, can we have discussion first?
Yep.
I'd contacted one of the city council members this morning. They were not aware of this. There is a airport commission plan. Both Commissioner Byers and myself sit on it, along with some city council members from the city of Long Prairie. We were not notified about this change on the zoning. So they're meeting in August. So next month, I just say there's a process that needs to be followed, and the airport commission should have been notified on this and had their blessing and went from there. There's more than just the county involved in this. This is also involved in the city.
Yep, Commissioner Newman, the city was notified in the process early on because they are the owners of the airport. So the city got that notification. The proposal is to rezone the county zoning layer. So this doesn't have any change to the airport zoning, which is an overlay district on top of that. So those uses that are identified in the airport zoning are still implemented. This doesn't change any of those things, even the rezoning, these rules still apply. That's the reason we wouldn't have notified the airport commission, but hearing what you had said, I have a date here. Our deadline here is 8/20/25 to make a decision, so depending on when that meeting is, I could get in touch with the city administrator to get on that agenda, and we could have that discussion just with the whole board there, and then hopefully have time to then bring this back to the August 19th meeting, which would require us to make a decision that day then.
That's what I would recommend, because we really should follow that process. And make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on, i's are dotted, t's are crossed, and move forward. I'm not against this project, I just wanna make sure that the process gets followed.
Sure.
We don't know when their meeting is.
You thought it was the first Wednesday of
I
August?
believe it's usually the first Wednesday of the month, but I can double check.
And I could check with the city today and just try to get a spot on that agenda right away.
Yep.
You can get a hold of Candace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that was a discussion point. At this point, do you want, suggesting it gets tabled then, or?
Yes, tabled till the first meeting in August, hopefully we can, or second meeting in August 19th.
We have a motion to table.
Table it.
Thank you, parliamentarian. Thank you, parliamentarian, auditor, treasurer, everything. Okay. A lot of folders there, Adam.
Yeah, lots of items today. Okay, next is the Schrock request for CUP, an application for CUP for temporary family housing on parcel 0900255700 in Germania Township, was submitted on May 5th. Reviewed by the Planning Commission during the July 3rd public hearing. The final recommendation with the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the condition below. Options are to grant the CUP with the proposed condition, develop findings, to deny the CUP, or remand it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP with the following condition: that the applicant abide by section 9.17 of the Todd County Planning and Zoning Ordinance, which that section is our temporary family housing section.
Okay, Schrock request for CUP. Are asking to grant the CUP with the proposed conditions. Need a motion to do so.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Denny. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Nosk. Any discussion? Oh, hearing no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, moving along. Next is the Koblenz request for CUP, an application for CUP to expand an existing greenhouse operation on parcel 2600343300, Ward Township, was submitted on June 6th. Application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the July 3rd public hearing. Final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the conditions below. Options are to grant the CUP with the conditions, develop findings, to deny the CUP, or remand it back to the Planning Commission. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP with the following conditions: that the conditions of CUP 2022-009 shall be applied to the granting of the proposed expansion of 4 additional greenhouses, and 2, that the applicant shall be limited to 4 additional greenhouse structures. Additional greenhouses shall require the review of the Planning Commission.
Can we get the board
Scroll
action?
down for us, Denise.
Thank you. I think we want the Koblenz one.
Yeah, one more.
One more down. No, we did the Schrock.
We're on Koblenz, I believe, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the 9.3 Koblenz request for CUP. We're looking for a motion to grant the CUP with those conditions. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with conditions.
Thank you, Commissioner Noska. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you, Commissioner Becker. Any discussion? Okay, here no discussion. Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 9.4, New Heights Dairy request.
Yes, New Heights Dairy request for CUP, an application for CUP to expand an existing feedlot on parcel 0700008801 Eagle Valley Township was submitted on June 6th, 2025. The request is to expand the existing feedlot from 1,752 animal units to 1,997.4 animal units. The application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the July 3rd public hearing. Final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the conditions below. Options are to grant the CUP with the proposed conditions, develop finding to deny the CUP, or remand it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP with the conditions below. 1, issuance of the NPDES feedlot permit and verification supplied to the county prior to issuance of any land use permits for expansion to the feedlot operation. 2, expansion to the existing liquid manure storage area shall be conducted in compliance with section 911 of the Planning and Zoning Ordinance. 3, air quality exemption notices shall be provided to Todd County prior to all future manure application events. 4, in the event of manure spill or other discharge, applicant must notify the county and the Minnesota duty officer immediately upon discovery of said discharge. And 5, the applicant must abide by all their applicable federal, state, and local standards. And I did have some interaction with Mark Anderson, their hydrologist, on their water permitting, and they are adequately covered. All they need to do is change, this is an existing site they just bought, so they just need to do the change of ownership, and that will be all squared away. And I have that here, I believe. It says, at the 1752 animal units, the calculation is 13.8 million gallons per day. At the 1997.4, it's estimated at 15.8. I would say they are good to go other than the change of ownership, because they're currently permitted for 20 million gallons a year. So they still have 4 million gallons of buffer there.
Okay. So 9 for New Heights Dairy request, they're looking for a motion to grant this cup with those proposed conditions.
Yeah. Okay. How about the manure storage? Are they going to have to expand that right away, or?
Not right away. What they're doing is adding a stacking area, so not for solid manure stacking, and then a sand lane to recapture their sand, but they have no immediate plans to expand the existing. But if they do expand it, that's what triggers them to then go to the 12 months. Okay. But they have adequate storage right now, and that'll be reviewed with their manure management plans and all that stuff through the NPDES permit process.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm kind of curious, Adam. So with Ludemann's on Twin Eagle Dairy, all those permits get transferred into the new owners?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Transfers to the new one, and the new owners are the ones actually applying for the permit because they've changed ownership now.
Everything that was in the past gets carried forward?
Right, if it's still applicable today, yes. Yep.
All right.
Okay. This time we still need a motion to approve the New Heights Dairy request.
I'll make that motion to approve the cup.
Okay, Commissioner Denny has made the motion. And a second would be needed to move it forward.
I'll make a second.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Becker. With a second. Any more discussion? Okay, well, out of here, no more discussion. We'll take a quick vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and lastly, the Johnson request for CUP, an application for CUP to establish an outdoor shooting range on parcel 21007702 and 21007703. Round Prairie Township was submitted on April 3rd. The application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the May, June, and July public hearings. The final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the conditions below. Options are to grant the CUP with the proposed conditions or establish findings to deny the CUP. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP with the following conditions. 1, discharge of firearms on the site shall be limited to 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 2, off-street parking shall be provided for all business traffic. 3, upon closure of the operation, the site shall be closed in compliance with Minnesota pollution control standards. 4, construction stormwater permitting shall be obtained prior to the start of construction if applicable. 5, establishment of a 911 address number and placement of a physical sign for emergency services. 6, all on-site lighting shall be affixed in a downward direction and shall not cast light across the property boundary. 7, restroom facilities shall be provided on site. 8, construction of shooting range baffles on the rifle and handgun ranges in compliance with the NRA range source guide. 9, shooting range shall be limited to 7 shooting lanes and 1 30 by 20 structure as identified in the application. Additional lanes and structures shall require the review of the planning commission. 10, perimeter fencing shall be established around the entire perimeter of the shooting range. Fencing shall consist of mesh or similar style fence no less than 6 feet in height. And 11, the applicant shall obtain all additional permitting and or licensing from additional government agencies, including the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency.
Okay, that it?
Yes.
Okay. 9.5 is the Johnson request for cut from the shooting range. Obviously, we need a motion to approve.
So move.
Got the motion from Commissioner Newman. Would there be a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Noska seconded it. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Please do.
Since the state of Minnesota changed the deer hunting in our area now to all rifle, this year, I know a lot of the neighbors were upset. I paid close attention to this, but the state of Minnesota changed from slugs to rifle. So when their neighbor starts ripping off their 300 mag at deer, it's gonna change the outlook of everything. So I'm more concerned about that the DNR changed the slug zone into rifle zone than I am with this. This here at least is a controlled environment. We can control it. You see the conditions. Hopefully, you know, they follow these conditions, but again, with the state of Minnesota changing the slug zone to a rifle zone, and I didn't see any mention of that with the planning commission. I don't know if you guys talked about that, Tim, or not. Did you, with the state changing?
It came up briefly. We were more focused on the surrounding effects it would have with the people in the city and the county. But yeah, I mean, it came up briefly, but yeah.
So, and I'm assuming this is gonna bring people into Long Prairie for, you know, clay targeting has gotten really big. And if you look up at Alexandria, I think they had like 7,000 kids up there a month and a half ago. So, I mean, it is what it is, so.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I do agree with you, Randy, that things are gonna change with the season, but it doesn't start till 2026.
Yeah.
So not this year. Just for everyone listening, it's not this year. Please don't get yourselves in any trouble. And this is also another option for everyone who purchases a new rifle because of this zone to actually be good with it. I mean, be responsible, be accurate.
Gun safety.
I mean, it's an
safety.
option for that as well.
Second Amendment.
Okay. Any other discussion? No, hearing no other discussion, let's take a quick vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. The item we have in front of you today is a waste delivery agreement renewal with Waste Management of Minnesota. Just a little bit of a background is this agreement with Waste Management has expired. The staff worked with attorney Kevin Johnson from Hush Blackwell to prepare the attached updated waste delivery agreement. This was a joint with Otter Tail and Wadena County as well, was updating their agreements. John Lindemann's office also reviewed this for anything that he needed to add, but it's kind of a background. We just started monitoring where some of our waste streams were coming from, and what the issue that we had in past was that we had contract haulers shopping county rates and delivering unauthorized product to different counties, and that's hence this agreement. So basically it gives us the right to double their fees if they do so to choose to deliver waste to our county that's from another county. The options is to authorize the solid waste director to sign the attached 5-year waste agreement with Waste Management of Minnesota, or do not authorize the waste director to sign this attached waste delivery agreement. The recommendation is to allow the solid waste director to sign this attached 5-year waste agreement with Waste Management of Minnesota.
Okay, so agenda item 10.1 is the potential authorization of the solid waste director to sign the attached 5-year waste delivery agreement. We would need a motion to move forward.
I'll make that motion to sign that agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
And Commissioner Newman on the second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, let's take a quick vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Agenda item up next is 11.1, Health and Human Services, the hiring of a county specialist, Hannah Elfer, with a start date to be determined.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
One board action form to present for you today from Health and Human Services, the hire of accounting specialist Hannah Elfering. Some background on opening. An open accounting position exists within Health and Human Services. Interviews were conducted, and it is our recommendation to hire applicant Hannah Elfering to fill the open position, start date to be determined. Your options are to approve the hire of Hannah Elfering to fill the open accounting specialist position, grade E/5, step C, 2493, start date to be determined, or to not approve. It's our recommendation you hire Hannah Elfering to fill the open position, accounting specialist position, grade E, step 5, grade E/5, step C, 2493 an hour, and then again, start date to be determined. This is budgeted. We bring this forward to you today as a board action form versus consent, because we're requesting to hire Hannah at a step 3, which is not typical, or we are, Caitlin's first interview or fill of a position, Hannah comes with 5 years of experience from Beltrami County. She is very familiar with this role, with estate recovery, probate, and all systems, computer systems knowledge as well. So a very unique find and hire. So we are requesting to bring Hannah on at a step 3. C.
Wonderful. Okay. 11.1, the hiring of accounting specialist, Hannah Elfring. The recommendation is to hire at the proposed grade and step with the experience that she brings to the table from Beltrami and whatnot. So we need a motion to move forward on that.
Did this go through personnel?
And it did definitely go through personnel, yeah.
And the personnel agreement?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noska. Any discussion? I will add that discussion just to clarify that. Yeah, went through personnel, and I think we're getting a really, the building of the team today has been great with legal and now HHS. This is good stuff, so. Okay, that was my kudos. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, let's take a quick vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
The team gets stronger.
Thank you.
Item number 12 today on our agenda is administration. We'll start with the jailer dispatch tentative agreement.
All right. So Commissioners, the Todd County negotiation team recently met with Law Enforcement Labor Services Incorporated, LELS, the jailers and dispatchers, and they have successfully reached a tentative agreement. Key highlights of the agreement include the cost of the Minnesota paid family and medical leave premiums will be shared equally between the employer and employees, with the employee portion deducted through payroll. Employer contributions for dependent coverage will continue to increase in line with previous trends. In 2025, single insurance will remain fully covered for our employees. Starting in 26 and 27, employees who choose the high-cost single plan will contribute $25 per month. A new 11-step salary schedule will take effect on the first full period in January 2025, with employees placed on the step in their grade, which will provide an increase plus one additional step. And cost of living adjustments, or COLAs, are set as follows: 2.5% in 2025, 3.5 in 2026 and 3.0 in 2027, and a cap on 6 severance will be implemented for employees hired on or after January 1st, 2025. So your options would be to adopt the tentative agreement with LELS, the jailers and dispatchers, or to do not adopt the tentative agreement with the LELS, jailers and dispatchers.
Okay, item 12.1, the tentative agreement with our LES jailer dispatch. We would need a motion to approve our negotiated agreement.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Noska. Is there a second? Commissioner Becker seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we will take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item 12.2, nearing the end, is our Paycom software agreement. Jackie and Jack. Huh, Jackie and Jack, that's funny.
Elliot.
Yes,
Elliot,
Jack
I'm
is
sorry.
joining us virtually, actually.
I keep the faces and the voices in my head.
That's okay, yes. Jack is actually on my screen right now for zooming in, but not up on the big screen. So I'm just gonna start if, Denise, could you pull up the graphic that I have? All right. Maybe, yeah, there we go. I know it's a little tiny on the upper two. So good morning, board members. I'd just like to begin today by walking you through the expenses that are tied right now to our current payroll, recruitment, and onboarding processes. As you might recall, at the last meeting, I know that the board wanted a more detailed outline of the costs, specifically including the time that our employees dedicate to managing our processes manually. So to support this request, I'm sharing some graphics for you that illustrate the labor and then the program costs that are associated with our current approach. So on the left-hand side of the graphic, you will see the breakdown of the existing internal costs, and then on the right-hand side, you'll also see the labor costs that are associated. And we actually went through this with the Paycom team months ago. It was something that I'm glad that the board brought that up because we really hadn't called that out. But months ago, we sat down with them and they walked us through step by step how many hours we were spending on everything from payroll processing and recruitment and onboarding, and then attached hours to that. And then they went in and were able to look at the time savings for each of those steps. Basically, then I attached a basic hourly wage of $30 an hour, which is kind of combination of our staff who work on all of these items. So you're gonna notice that the two sides have a total cost, and then on the bottom we have kind of a graph that shows the program savings, which by eliminating the programs that we currently have, which number approximately 7 different programs, we're looking at about 30,000 roughly. And then with our labor costs that we'll save by going over to Paycom, we're attaching a cost of about $32,500. And then at the last month's meeting, Paycom had quoted us a cost. And please keep in mind, and before I turn it over to Elliot Kane from payroll, from Paycom, he's gonna go a little bit more into the numbers. At last month's meeting, Paycom had quoted us a price. There are really 3 of us. There is Todd County, the big entity, but then we have 2 subcontracts, really. We have 2 different organizations that have 2 separate federal ID numbers, Todd Wadena Community Corrections and Todd County Development Corporation. The price that we were quoted last month showed those 3 amounts. The Todd County amount strictly that we were quoted at that time was $54,443. So this graphic really can show you that by eliminating the 7 or 8 programs that we have right now doing our payroll and onboarding and recruitment, plus our labor savings, the numbers came out right, or they did already last month. However, in the last month, thank you to working with Paycom and the board, and also specifically Chair Byers, Commissioner Byers, Paycom has come back with some new numbers. And so with that, I'm actually going to turn this over to Elliot Kane, who is here representing Paycom, and he's going to talk us through a little bit more specifics with cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll turn that on.
There we go. So as you can see on the screen there, where we had landed initially was for Todd County for 240 employees. We were looking at the 54,443. We went back to the drawing board, as I know we had a discussion about 2 weeks ago, and that was your guys' recommendation. And so through conversations with Commissioner Byers and Nellie and Jackie, as well as Jack, who's on virtually, we were able to get the Todd County costs reduced down to 47.1 thousand. And then for the other entities, TWCC would be landing around 7.87 thousand, and TCDC would be right around 4,000. So it comes out to an annual estimate of 59,000 for the 3 entities, but for Todd County, for 240 employees, you'd be looking at the 47.1.
No, I also want to just remind the board, we are looking at a 3-year contract. 1 year is being quoted right now. Year 2 would include a 2% increase in the price, and year 3, which would be 2028, would include an additional 2% increase.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, please do.
So 2% increase, that's all 3 entities then, covering them all. It's just basically, we're bundling it all into one, and
Correct.
then 2% on, okay, yeah, so there's no difference. I mean, otherwise, we could change with employee numbers, things like that. The price could also change that way as well.
Yep, so it's billed on a per employee per pay period basis. So just thinking about just Todd County for 240 employees,
Yeah.
if you were to pay 240 employees every single pay period throughout the year, it would come out to 47.1.
Okay,
So it kind of adjusts with the fluctuation in
All right,
headcount.
yep, sounds good.
I think it would be good for the commissioners to understand that what their call for today is really not, how do I say this? We know that TCDC and Wadena have separate boards that we wanted to consider before, what's presented in front of us, so we're looking at the 47.1 for the big enchilada, Todd County, us here, and then obviously we have some indication that Wadena does want to move forward with this, but we can't make that decision because they have their own board that does it, as does TCDC, which we have an inclination that TCDC would move forward too at some point. But the decision today would be, does this board for Todd County, the big, our main group, find value in the 47.1 and the benefits that they've laid out in programs, so.
Commissioner Byers, if I may again?
Yeah, please.
Again. Elliot, so if we were to drop Todd Wadena Community Corrections and TCDC from this, would ours still remain at 47.1?
It would.
It would, okay, so that doesn't, all right.
Right.
Yep.
And implementation is a set number then too, or?
Yeah, it's a one-time upfront implementation fee. It sits right around 6,125.
Okay. So there's been a lot of discussion about where we started and where we are today. The implementation fee, I think, is more manageable than it was, 27% less than what it was before, and obviously the overall number has been moved. The flag was planted a little further south than.
Mr. Chair, were any of the programs deleted from what we heard at the work session? I mean, that was priced before?
Yes, so one product was removed. It was the learning management system that we did have included initially.
Okay. And you guys okay with that, or you don't need to learn?
I guess that's the board's call. I had asked Elliot to kind of give all three options, if you want to go with all of our wants, or if you want to go with just our needs. That's kind of where we're leaving it up to the commissioners.
We-
But
we-
there was one thing that was dropped.
Yeah,
on the last.
right. I think there was, you know, there's a Cadillac, there's the F-150, and then there's the flatbed Ford, and we're in the F-150 range right now. And given the economics of our potential levy and budgeting, and who knows what comes down from the state mandate, you know, we thought that the middle number makes more sense than obviously the Cadillac. And there's only really, the middle plan that we're talking about for 47.1, in reality, it's maybe one or two that are like a want versus a need, you know? I think we're talking about, go ahead.
Yeah, it'd be, if we went to basically just our needs, we'd be dropping scheduling and expense management.
And we felt that there was, those were ones that, if used, are gonna be very valuable. And we will make sure, we'll make sure we carry the use them type mentality forward.
I also want to add, with that price point of $47,100, administration, along with the budget saving, or along with the cost savings on the programs and also on the labor, we will not need to ask for a budget increase to cover that.
Yeah, lots of discussion, and the team did a really good job of getting the number where it is. I think it's, you know, it's hard to, like, you know, public works people need vehicles and tools, stuff, and this is literally like another tool in the, or not another, it's a whole different tool. It's like going from a chisel and hammer to a, you know, electric powered grinder or something, you know, way better.
Yep.
Anyway, any other discussion? Otherwise, we would need a motion to move forward at the, and to clarify, what we're asking for today is that 47.1 for Todd County and the implementation fee of $6,125.
Mr. Chair, I got one question. Is there any way we could go with the 2-year contract? I'm just not comfortable with 3 for right now. I'd like to go a 2-year contract, and that way, if we get a good feel, we can continue on. You know, I hate to jump in and all of a sudden somebody says, this isn't a good fit. So, I don't know. Could we do that? 2-year contract?
Our standard contract is a 3-year term. We see groups typically even want to go with a longer term. I have not seen a 2-year term be approved, and I know is Jack on still? He might be able to.
Asking, but I don't think he had to hop off.
Oh, okay, no problem. That might be some digging that I would have to do, Commissioner Newman. But our standard contract is a 3-year term, and then we got those price caps added in there as well for the 022.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion, anyone? All right, at this time, I just would like to ask for a motion to approve, or?
So were we looking to approve a 2 or a 3? What were we looking to do here?
Well, right now, it's a 3-year deal.
3-year deal.
Denise,
3-year deal,
Elliot does have the
0%,
contract if you wanna-
2% are cost adjustments throughout the year.
Correct.
$47,100
Correct.
first year,
Well, I would assume they want to see the contract.
and implementation fee of $6,125.
Correct.
Has this been reviewed by the county attorney, the contract?
I think so.
Do we need you to,
Mr.
John?
Chair, I did review it. I expressed my concerns with the county coordinator, and I'm not sure if any adjustments were made to the agreement based on those concerns raised.
Yeah, what Attorney Lindeman saw was their master agreement, which is a generic. They have presented a actual contract. We came right down to the wire. We were still negotiating price as of last night. So the contract, which I think Elliot is attempting to pull up, was shared this morning, just a little bit ago, with the new numbers.
Do you have it on your computer? You may have been on there, Jackie, if.
So it hasn't been, that actual contract with the new numbers has not been reviewed by the county attorney. I would actually feel important, it would be important that he review that prior to anybody signing it, because he's only seen the general master agreement, so.
I like that idea.
I do have it.
Can we approve pending county attorney review?
I have to sign it at the end of the day, so.
Right, right.
If that's
Well,
how they do it, I wouldn't sign anything until,
So in speaking with Wadena County Commissioners, they're very happy with this, very happy with the program. So, I mean, I'm pretty and those guys are hard asses, let's say. So I'm gonna say.
except for Ron.
I just
For
want.
lack of a better term.
I know. I feel we need time, because just in scanning it while the board meeting was going on, I didn't have time to really look at all the costs that were included, because it's all broken down per module. So it's gonna just, I think we're gonna wanna verify numbers, have the county attorney review it. You can see as I'm kind of scrolling fast, I apologize, but you can see the breakdown.
And it's broken down by each entity on what Jackie was just showing here. And so for that one, that would be TCDC for one employee. And then at the top of each proposal, it states, so this one that we're looking at there was for Todd County. For
This one- Okay, this one right here, Elliot?
Yep, for
Okay.
240 employees.
Okay.
And then down below is where the actual cost comes in. So we can see that there is a base processing fee, if you scroll up just a little bit there, Jackie, of $150.58 for processing. And then there's a $6.93 per check fee. So that's why I mentioned the costs will fluctuate with how many employees are being paid per pay period.
Right. Can we make a motion right now or not?
Yeah, I don't know
With-
why
with-
you
with
make
the
a motion
variables
by
here.
pending legal, make a motion pending review by our, yeah, you have to state what your.
I'll make a
is.
motion to approve pending contractual adjustments and legal review.
Okay, we have a motion to approve pending legal review, contractual review, and we need a second to do that, move forward.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Becker. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take a quick voice vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I get this to Mr. Lindeman and his team so that they can review it from a legal standpoint, and I will not sign until I get his approval
Okay,
at that point, and the board will know that we've moved forward.
awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your hard work. Thanks, Elliot.
We're going to move to standing reports since we're 32 minutes behind schedule at this point, so County Auditor Treasurer.
Right.
Finance Committee has been working diligently. We've met. The levy wasn't not looking the best in double digits. So we spent a whole day working through cuts. We are doing callbacks now this week and next week to have some departments do some big reductions, hoping that sets the levy at a more doable number. Mobile home tax statements were sent out last week. And the newest thing on the docket is Wadena Deer Creek called for an operating referendum election coming in November.
Thank you very much. County Attorney report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to report for the first time in my 3 years as county attorney that my office is fully staffed with 4 legal assistants. And in August, it'll be 4 assistant county attorneys. We have our new office suite expanded to allow our legal assistants more space. We even have an intern this summer, thanks to Sourcewell, going through scanning of 10 years of hard copy criminal files and other files that we can't destroy because of the nature of those files. And so I'm just so pleased coming up on this 30th anniversary to report that things are just falling into place. And I want the people of Todd County to know that now we're in an opportunity to address some of the nuisance properties that we all see, the junk houses, and we have a backlog of right now 100 cases that we've got from the sheriff's department and the police departments that need to be charged out. There are things, as we just learned, that come up every day that I really like. It's my favorite part of the job is being able to help the various departments in the county to avoid problems, to put out fires, and to do what's right by the people of this county most efficiently. And so it's just with really a lot of gratitude and humility that I thank the board and everybody who's been patient with me to get to this point. I'm just so happy that we can now be fully staffed and do good work for the people of Todd County following our mission. Thank you all.
County Coordinator.
Okay, I've been participating in employee interviews. Went to the media day for the transfer station, participated on the finance committee, went and sat in on the historic trim bid opening. I'm finishing up assisting this community of Gray Eagle with their Village Hall grant with the Historical Society. Now I'm currently working with the City of West Union to look for some funds for a speed limit sign. Also went to the solid waste meeting, a paid family medical leave webinar, and then went to a child care solutions for Todd County meeting as well.
Thank you. Commissioners report. Let's start with Commissioner Newman today.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chair. On the 8th, attended the JD2 Miller Bay meeting on Lake Osakis. In attendance was the MPCA, DNR, Army Corps, Sauk River, Douglas County Soil and Water, Todd County Soil and Water, Lake Association, Houston Engineering, myself, and Commissioner Rapp from Douglas County. It was a really interesting meeting. They're trying to figure out the causes of what's affecting Lake Osakis. On the 10th, solid waste. Took a tour on my own on solid waste. I had a doctor's appointment when they had the media day. So a lot of the major stuff is getting completed. Bunch of minor stuff that has to be completed before I think we have our open house. Otherwise, looks fantastic. We had our first meeting in the new building. No smell of garbage, but it looks really good out there. So hopefully we can continue getting that wrapped up. Rainbow Rider, Commissioner Becker and myself are on that. Moving forward with the new facility, which has taken us, I don't know, 6 years to get. Groundbreaking is going to be sometime, I think, in September, August, late August, September, I don't know, somewhere in there. Having some issues with LAS or whatever it is, the sanitation. They want an easement to our property and they only want to give us so much. So a little conflict on the more. Yeah. So anyways, that's moving forward. What else did I have? I think that was about it.
Okay, good report. Commissioner Becker?
Yes, attended the Rainbow Rider meeting with Randy, like he said, working on the bus garage and Alec. also attended the media day at the solid waste facility, which to me I really appreciated because all the work we had in designing and all the blueprints we seen, to actually see it there, it was awesome. It looks very, very good. I was very impressed with what I had seen that day. Yeah, very happy.
Okay, great. Commissioner Denny.
Yeah, I attended a lot of the same meetings and then also some extras. Basically been focusing on finance with Commissioner Byers and the finance team. Also took a little time, missed a few meetings. I had my grandmother's funeral, so thank you, Todd County, for the flowers, everyone's support, and everyone helping out, covering some meetings for me and keeping me up to date on what's going on. So just want to reach out and thank everybody for that, and also just all the kind words and messages were great. Thank you. Other than that, yeah, we're just going to keep going forward with our regular meetings and keep working on that budget.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Noska.
Yeah, one thing, it's a lot of the same overlap with the rest of you, but one thing to note was I met with Kathy Langer, our director for Todd Community Corrections, and she announced her retirement in October. So congratulations to Kathy. I'm not sure if she's around or listening, but congratulations. I'm sure she'll really enjoy a little bit of a less stressful life. Another thing, we had, just to mention, small thing, Todd County Development Corporation, we actually approved 2 small business loans. Or they approved 2 small business loans yesterday. So helping some people out, either starting new businesses or expanding their current businesses. So we like to see that happening.
Perfect.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Myself, as Tim mentioned, been very involved in finance. I was also with Lou yesterday in the TCDC board meeting. Todd County Soil Water Conservation District was last week. And I obviously spent a lot of time last week on personnel and Paycon. So, you know, the team's getting stronger and we're looking good. So I like the lively discussion. It's good for us all. Appreciate everybody's work. So at that, can we adjourn for work session?
Yes. You adjourn for the month of July.
What'd you say?
I'll make a motion to
Thank you.
adjourn for the month
Sorry.
of July.
I am getting hearing aids soon, by the way.
Second on that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
It was easier than explaining it to you.
Right.
That's a good hire, John. That's a good hire.
When I saw
Time for that.
Well, yeah. It's like
Good morning, everyone. It's
peddling everything.
10:25. We're going to start the Board of Commissioners work session for today, Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Our first agenda item is going to be the Pheasants Forever program update. I think Riley's here.
Yep, good
Riley
morning, guys.
Peterson's here. And she's a farm bill biologist, right?
Correct.
Oh, we're excited. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so we have Riley and then Karen also here to just give a program update, but I'll just step out of the way and let you guys take it here.
Yeah, the agenda might say Riley Peterson, and my slideshow will say Riley Trantina. I did just get married like 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
So I'm still kind of, thank you, in the process of getting used to my new name. Not everything switched over, so right now I'm kind of in between. And this is Karen Dawson. She's taken over as the Northeast Area Supervisor. You guys might have met Josh Palmier before. I think he's presented to you. He's still working for PF, but she's taking over for this area. I don't know if you want to.
Yep, I'm Karen Dawson, just here for Riley's annual review. She's showing me around the county. It's a beautiful county. I enjoyed driving through it this morning.
All right. So this is going to be kind of an overview of what my first year looked like as a farm bill biologist. I'm not taking this as an opportunity to lecture at you guys about wildlife biology and habitat, but more so what I've actually been working on. So I'm going to take some time to reflect on the past year and like what it's going to be like looking ahead. I'm going to focus more on the role that conservation can play with agriculture, not working against it, some of the key achievements and accomplishments we've made in the last year, and some of our hopes moving forward. So at a glance, the introduction to this position in Greater Todd County was a lot, and they kind of warned me that it would take a while to get settled in, but there is a lot to get familiar with. I built a lot of relations with local staff and partners, with the Fish and Wildlife, DNR, Bowser. That was really important, and those connections helped me kind of better understand the programs that will be available to landowners that I can market moving forward. I tried to learn the programs to the best of my ability. I'm still learning. CRP is ever changing, as I'm beginning to know. I tried to explore the landscape. I grew up in Staples, but I didn't get to explore Long Prairie all that often, and towards that Osakis area, getting to see some of the Greater Todd County was really quite a privilege. It's quite beautiful. And of course, getting to meet with landowners. I sat in a lot with Lucas Toma, our DC, and Darlene Drana, kind of toured the county with them, looked at the projects they were working on, and used that to kind of introduce myself to the landowners and then move forward into making my own landowner contacts. I've done a lot of technical training. There's a lot of conservation planning certifications to work on, lots of ag learn, lots of technical things. Sat in a lot of meetings, a lot of trainings, and I'm still working on the Conservation Planner Level 1 certification, but I gotta find a good time to get there to meet with Russ, but he's a very busy man, so we'll see how that goes. And I've been networking a lot and using training in action with the CRP sign up 63 and 64. We did get 22 contracts this year, and so far 21 have been accepted. So it's looking like we're gonna have 21 contracts for the year 2026. And I've been working on some certifications and site visits. But some of you I know are already familiar, but just a little overview of what Pheasants Forever and their mission is all about. They are known as the Habitat Organization, but they are included in a lot more than that. They earned the title through years of connecting conservationists, hunters, and nature enthusiasts to conserve and create habitat for our native and declining species. And their vision is that the current and future generations will be able to enjoy abundant populations of wildlife in preserved and protected habitat. Sometimes there's a misconception that Pheasants Forever is only worried about taking land out of production or putting land in wildlife habitat, but a lot of what Pheasants Forever does connects with agriculture, and it actually benefits producers in several ways. The goal is not to take land away from producers, but actually work with them in a way that is sustainable so that we can make conservation and agriculture work hand in hand in a sustainable format. They have accumulated about 480,000 members to the day and partners, and they've hired on around 300 biologists, including myself. And one of the really amazing things about Pheasants Forever is they allow each of their biologists to tailor their needs to the specific county. Todd County is not the same as Wilmer, it's not the same as Stearns. It has its own needs, its own visions, And being a Farm Bill biologist stationed out of Todd County, you get to kind of tailor that position to respect that. And building these partnerships in this position have allowed me and Pheasants Forever to work towards the organization's goals through federal programs and a strong community nationwide that supports funds in our mission. So I want to focus more on how conservation and agriculture work together. So some of the benefits of CRP is that it doesn't only take land out of production, it's really supposed to focus on taking poorly productive land out of production. And a lot of what I've seen with my re-enrollments this year and producers who are looking into CRP is they either have a very large portion of the field that is super low and they're sinking their equipment, the productivity is low, it's either so dry or such a poor soil profile that the erosion is very high, the wind erosion is, they just don't get the yields that they should be getting. And in today's generation, moving on, there is a lot of pressure on producers to be able to meet these expectations of being more conservation minded, and CRP is actually giving them an incentive and a reward to be able to be a good land steward and be doing these things that look good in the public eye. And in terms of what it actually does for the environment, CRP has helped water quality and it also improves soil health. If you think about how fertile the land was when we were first coming here and turning it into agricultural production, we were tilling up those fresh meadows, those prairies, that forest land, and you're never gonna see soil that's more productive and more fertile than what has that good organic matter layer. So even if someone were to put something in CRP for 10, 15 years and then decide to take that out, that organic matter layer that you're gonna build from having that CRP for 10 years, their next yield for the however many years is gonna be much better, and the soil health is much better. Pheasants Forever is also involved in a lot of legislative advocacy. When we were going through some of the federal uncertainties this spring, there were a lot of people from Pheasants Forever working really, really hard on a national level, not just to promote Pheasants Forever funds, but funds for the NRCS, for the SWCDs, and for the FSAs across the country. They were working really hard to try and get that farm bill passed, and that doesn't only affect me, it affects all of our producers. And a lot of the different programs that we work with, Clear 30, EQIP, the Farm Bill in general, Pheasants Forever plays a big hand in advocating for those programs. And these conservation programs that we get to put on the ground, they do help local economies. They bring federal dollars to rural areas. The more attention we get from federal programs, whether it be CRP, easements, EQIP, the more that they see that there's interest in that, the more potential we have to bring money into those programs on a rural level. And Farm Bill biologists can also act as a bridge that connect farmers and agencies. In Todd County, we have a lot of members of the county who are maybe not super trusting of the government. And so sometimes being a Pheasants Forever member is a big benefit because I get to go out there under the name of a Farm Bill biologist in Pheasants Forever, and then sometimes they feel more comfortable speaking to me than they maybe would as somebody who's working under a federal agency. So getting to connect them to the NRCS, SWCD, and Bowser, it's not only for promoting CRP and what Pheasants Forever has on their agenda, and I can work as somebody that they feel comfortable to call, even just to navigate the confusing paperwork, the confusing easement regulations, anything of that nature. If they have questions about a weed, they'll bring in the weed and I'll help them identify it. But creating those trusted local support people in your office, there's a lot of value to that. I've had a lot of landowners comment that they really appreciate having somebody who's available that they can call, that they can email about any questions that they have. And they appreciate having that person around. And on the more technical and on paper side of things, some of the highlights from the year, it was the 22 CRP applications accepted on the federal level. 20 to 21 have been accepted. We have one person on the fence that don't know if they're gonna quite accept yet. It's amounted to about 486 acres for the year. 75 landowner contacts that are new and more than 450 acres that have been assessed either through monitoring, just potential site visits for CRP easements for any program. And then I was able to present in Malacca with the National Wildlife Turkey Federation and their SWCD partners They had a lot of questions about government programs and CRP, so it was really great being a voice for those programs for them there. And I got to meet a lot of landowners in Todd County at the feedlot meeting. That was great. It was really fun having them come up to me and say, hey, I've seen you at my farm, like I know you, and getting to build those connections. I got to attend the 2025 Women in Ag Conference in White Park, and now I will be presenting in 2026 with some other PF members, which is quite the honor. And I've attended multiple program trainings and field days, and I am working with Jason Anderson from Pheasants Forever to bring a burn trailer to Todd County. I've had a lot of county citizens come up to me and mention that they would really like more resources for burning. There's a lot of people that are very interested in burning, but they maybe just they can't afford it. They don't know a way to get to the equipment. So I'm working with a PF coordinator to be that person, be that bridge, be available to get them that trailer on the weekends, and that will be parked at the NRCS office. And it includes drip torches, a water backpack, safety equipment, clothes, rakes, pretty much everything that they would actually need to carry out an active burn on the ground. And there'd be a small fee that they would pay to be able to rent out that trailer that would go just to cover the insurance of everything. There's no profit involved with it. There's just some paperwork for waivers and things like that when we rent it out. But that's one of the bigger projects that I've been working on recently. And what my mission is moving forward, I think it's really easy to spend a lot of time trying to gas up what your accomplishments are. And what you've done in the past year, but I really want to be forward focused and kind of see what I can do. This first year was a really big learning experience for me. There's a lot more to the county than what I knew about, and it's a very diverse county with its residents and its landscape. There's lots of different crops, lots of different interests. There's absentee landowners and landowners who've been here for 5 generations. So there's a lot of different people to cater to, and they all have value. And when you look at it, agriculture really is the heart of Todd County, and conservation practices and programs can be and should be used to enhance our farming practices and improve the longevity of our land, but they shouldn't be pitted against each other. And I would love to improve and expand upon my landowner relationships, whether that be through outreach, through going to their property, through programs, helping to educate and participate in different local events like the feedlot meeting or our county fairs. Increase my knowledge and understanding of federal programs to best assist our landowners. And I'd love to see more projects on the ground as an active participant and contributor, not just somebody looking from the sidelines. And there's value in that, and I've learned a lot, but I would love to actually get my hands dirty and work on some projects for the landowners of Todd County. But yeah, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions for him? The team?
Yeah, I do. Are you mainly in Todd County or?
Yep.
And not Todd Wadena, but strictly Todd County?
Okay. Yeah, so my position is I'm the Todd County's Farm Bill biologist. We have discussed if Morrison falls behind or Wadena falls behind in terms of their CRP contracts, and I have the time that I could assist with it, but my priority is Todd County, and all of the work here would get done first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the work. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good presentation.
It was.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next agenda item will be Adult Services and Child Services Unit update. Jackie Ock, or her team will be presenting. Okay. The team.
Burn trailer is kick ass. I just got sent a picture of it today from.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gear you need, everything, yeah.
We're excited to give you guys updates on our unit. I noticed that I did not update the date on that first slide, so let's just go past that one. We want to start off with our comprehensive reentry or jail program, along with our co-response and TITA diversion. Those are our newer programs, and pretty exciting to see how they're constantly improving and evolving. Lisa Grossinger is our current Cree social worker. She has done an amazing job of bringing more services to the inmates. We have our weekly peer support that comes in. We have one for males and one for females. They can work on their wellness recovery action plans or just talk to someone who's been there, kind of done that, offer that support. She's gotten a therapy dog to come in and has received good reviews on that. She's also doing parenting classes when the need arises. That's through our MDH Model Jail Practices Grant that we're in our second year of. And then I believe you met Amy and Christine today. Amy is our newest co-response social worker. She's worked hard in the past 9 months to develop good relationships with our sheriff's office in Long Prairie and Staples PD. She's, as of June, she's worked with 101 people. It's been great to see that preventative work that she's been doing as far as when officers get calls, doing follow-ups the next day just to meet not only people with mental health or chemical use issues, but also our vulnerable population. So she's been working closely also with our adult protection worker. And then Christine has been working with the county attorney's office for our diversion cases. She's got a small number of those, which are with, I believe she has 2 ongoing at this time. She also has been busy with commitments. We've had a huge increase in commitments this year. Currently, it is around 13, but that's also constantly evolving because we're working on one as we speak.
So then some of the numbers for adult mental health, we have 2 full-time adult mental health case managers and then 1 TITA diversion social worker. Well, Kim said also handles a lot of the commitments. And we have 66 AMH cases and 4 MN sex offender program cases, 2 mentally ill and dangerous cases, and 37 people being served in our money management / rep payee services right now.
And I'd just like to add, it's been nice that Christine can focus on taking our commitment caseload to free up our other 2 case managers to do those monthly hits. And then our Todd County LAC, as you guys know, we've been doing a lot of work with our LAC in the last 1.5 years by signing our updated bylaws last year. We're working on updating them again. We took into consideration what Commissioner Newman said about the amount they get to attend each meeting, so we'll be talking about that actually tomorrow at our meeting. And then also all of our LACs throughout the region are working on a conflict resolution policy or little paragraph to have in there, so hopefully by fall we'll be able to present that to you guys to sign. Our meetings are, like I said, we have a meeting tomorrow, but they're the 3rd Wednesday of the odd months. We have a great attendance of providers, although we would like more consumers or people with lived experience or parents of children with lived experience, just because we do need 51% of our committee to be consumers, which is one of our goals this year, is to increase that population or attendance. And then we also have, our goal is to do 2 mental health events. We did 1 in May and we're looking forward to doing 1 in October. And I know the regional LAC too is looking at more increased attendance, participation, and are also looking at possibly having commissioners be in attendance. So if you get a call from one of them, that's what that's about. And you're always welcome to attend our meetings as well.
So then for adult protection, in 2024, we had a half-time adult protection investigator and then 3 backup on the team. And we had 248 total MARC reports in 2024, 71 emergency reports, and then 89 that actually got accepted for investigation. And then so far, for about half the year in 2025, we have a full-time adult protection investigator now, which I believe has allowed us to serve the vulnerable adults in the community better. And then she has more time to focus on adult protection. And then still 3 backup part-time. And then we've had 98 MARC reports so far, 28 EPS reports, and 55 accepted for investigation. So the numbers are a little bit lower projected for what it was last year, but it does come in waves, so it might be similar to that number from 2024. But we've screened in more for investigation this year so far than we did in 2024.
And having that full-time position too allows them to do more work and to follow them and really meet needs better.
So there's no predictability to like monthly or quarterly or?
No, and like Jake said, it comes in waves. They might have a
That's
week
what made me think of
where
that.
they can just do some extra follow-ups and then it's boom, busy again. And we'll have 3 emergency assessments.
Save the best for last. I don't know if you remember, I'm me, but I'm Hillary. I do our waiver and managed care programs. So currently we're at 2 paraprofessional case aides, 11 care coordinators, and then 3 DD social workers, which is, Jake manages those 3 staff, so. Just running some numbers, so for new initial assessments, so these are requests that come in from hospitals, community members, family members. Our numbers were down slightly in 2024 from 2023. I'm not entirely sure how accurate that number is though, because we had some duplicates of assessments because of pending MA applications, pending SMRT certifications, or getting disability status, things like that. So I do believe that 160 should be a little bit higher. And then currently right now where we stand in 2025, we already are well over 100 initial requests, and we're only at mid-year. So we're seeing a fairly high increase in those initial requests. And with us rolling out in 2024 into our new revised min-choice system, I ran some numbers, and we're averaging 17 to 18 hours with one initial request. That's start to finish. So I think that number shows that our initial assessments are taking far much more time than they ever did before, so.
And that's why we also think there's lower numbers too, because they've had to spend more time in the new system, and that includes entering everything new again. In the old system, it would just auto-populate in for a reassessment, so now you're entering new information. There's a lot more like typing in boxes you have to do, so it all takes time.
Right, and DHS has a guideline for us too, that we're supposed to call these initial requests and have them done within 20 business days. That's not realistic. That never has been realistic. So right now, I'd say on average, we're roughly a month out by the time we get initial requests, by the time we actually see that person and do that initial assessment, so. And then our county of location reassessments, so those are the assessments we do for people sitting here physically in Todd, but we're not responsible for them. But DHS says as a courtesy, we have to do those reassessments. So those are just the numbers compared from 23 to 24.
So those would be our people that are in adult foster care, that their county of financial responsibility is another county, but because they're living here, we have to do that assessment. But they do the case management part of it.
Yep. And then this last slide just shows kind of the breakdown of each area of how many cases we have. So we have a total of 918 cases. And that's between the 11 care coordinators. Does that include DD?
Yes, I think I put them on there. Yeah, Rule 185 and DD case management. Yep.
So, and the 3 DD workers, so.
Is that 2024, or that's
current as of
current?
June.
I'm saying.
Yep.
The time frame.
Yep. So as you can see, our staff are really busy across our unit. They do a fabulous job trying to meet the needs, especially when some of our providers, I mean, we continue to have staffing shortages in those areas, but they continue to work hard, think outside the box, try to meet people's needs as much as they can, or as best as they can.
Wonderful. Oh, that's a lot. Could you make that? Could I get a paper copy at some point in my box down below, or whenever you have one?
Like you want just this copy?
Yeah, like that.
I'll take that. This copy I
I'll
scratched
have that
out.
copy. That's fine too. Thank you. That'd be good. Any questions, commissioners?
Just amazing, the number that you're showing us, you know, and the work that has to be done. And we're still waiting in the state of Minnesota to hopefully make some major changes.
Thank you. Correct. And all these numbers don't even account for the audits that come in.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of time and energy that is spent on the audits and dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and the care plan didn't look exactly correct, and then they're going back and doing plan reviews and corrections, and it's a lot of intensive time, but really good work that the team puts out. So thank you.
Yep. And we're scheduled for our lead agency review in 2026. That's with DHS. So I'm sure we'll learn a few things next year.
We take them as learning opportunities.
Jackie, are you hearing any news of them updating anything yet or not? Or is it just?
You know, we're just starting to see what, you know, I have some of that information over there, but really federally, I'm really seeing that be more effective towards our MA population and eligibility right now. Even down to SNAP benefits. So those are the things that we're really gonna see up front. But some of these are pushed out into 2026, 2027, and 2028. So there is there is gonna be some local fiscal impact for us, significant local fiscal impact that we are gonna need to consider in the upcoming months, especially in 27 and 28.
I've seen a lot of the SNAP stuff is what I've seen online, whether it's true or not. It is online, but yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
I'm good.
No?
Is UCAR gonna stay in?
Thank you, thank you, yes. We are seeing some things with changes with the PMAP population in UCare. Kim is working on an RFP and still continuing to provide our service with UCare for Todd County.
Don't know.
We haven't heard they aren't, and part of that, the aging and disability population, they were still going to serve, but it was still our county they were serving, so we're monitoring it closely.
Wasn't there a list of 8 to 12 counties that are?
Yes,
there are
that was
11
for the
counties.
PMAP population,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're doing a different thing with their contract for care coordination this year, or for next year, that it's an RFP that you have to apply to provide care coordination, and then it's a 3-year contract.
So hopefully, I guess we'll find out. We're gonna submit all the paperwork and complete the RFP, and other than that, we haven't heard anything different.
So, Mr. Chair, did you guys ever get a book of their acronyms?
I know.
DHS, oh my God.
Yes, and some of them
book.
have double acronyms, so you don't know which.
It's a
so-
book, so I'm trying to guess what. So,
Takes a good couple years to learn them all.
yeah.
Then just when you know them, they change them to be more person-centered.
Thank you for your time.
If you want, I can send you what those all mean too, but.
Go ahead, send it to Randy.
Perfect, we'll give you a quiz at the
Okay,
next
thank you guys.
meeting.
Really good job. Appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna bring in
Thanks for the head
Children's
up.
Services just to quickly do their review. We do these review twice a year, so in the fall, we'll have Stephen's unit and Catherine's unit come up and do a review as well.
Okay.
Come on down.
Here we are. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our board update today for Child Services. I will make it a goal, I'm just gonna say that now, that when we do this, I usually put this all on myself, but next year you will hear from these two lovely faces as well, so.
And just as many acronyms.
Right, just as many acronyms, I'll try to stay away from them as much as possible.
I have a list, though, if you want it.
So first off, we'll talk about what 2025 has looked like so far for us. We've done 248 reports that we received in child protection. We've done 60 assessments. We've had 14 kids entering foster care, and 15 of them have exited foster care. We are on pace to be about average this year over the last 3-year average. We get about 550 reports a year. We screen in about 160, and we have about 33 kids that enter foster care. So being halfway through the year, these numbers are through June, excuse me. So we are about on pace to match what we've done the previous 2 years. Children's mental health, we have 20 new children that we are serving. We have 107 total kids that are served through that department through our 6 children's mental health workers. We're on pace for about 46, and we usually have about 43 cases, so we're right on par with that one as well.
Hey, John, can you explain to me that what a screened report, I mean, I can make an assumption here, but that's their biggest number on there, 248 screened reports. So that's someone calls in and says.
Did, and somebody sent an email, somebody did something and says, I think this child might be in danger.
But it's a single, like, it's not like, that doesn't, it's just a report. It's not like numbers of people, right?
Correct. So 248 reports, it could be a family of 5, it could be a family of 1, it could be a family of whatever it could be.
Even family of 5 just counted as one report.
Correct. And if you're calling to say, Johnny down the street might be using drugs, but he's also physically abusing the kids, and they have dog feces on the floor, that's all one report. So it's not an individual allegation, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep. And then as far as our licensing goes, we've had 8 new requests to license foster homes within the county, and we did have 1 license closed so far throughout this year. Okay. The next one is kind of what we're doing for this year. It's really focusing on putting some preventive work in place so that hopefully our numbers can go down so less kids are entering foster care. I mean, that's what the writing on the walls that we're looking for. So in April, we did have our Community Connections event. We had about 180 people that came through that event. We had multiple providers from the county come and have booths to show what we have available to our residents. We had the agency that we're contracted with for our Community Resource Center was there, and I think she completed over 125 surveys. That's really going to be the biggest benefit of that event, is to get our Family Resource Center going so that we can alleviate some of the needs that our families have. And then also, we have our driving coming up in August here. August 21st is the date. It's similar to the Community Connection event where we'll have all the community partners there. It's a free family event for people to get out and get to see what's in the community. I think last year we had about 125 cars that came through. Not people, 125 cars, so it's a well-attended event. And then within our department, we have trained 2 of our workers to be parent educators. They've trained in a program that deals with kids from birth to age 18. It covers everything from discipline, potty training, household rules, anything that you can imagine. We're hoping that we can get those parent educators in front of families early on so that we can prevent some of those blow-ups later down the road. We've also had conversations about involving them with foster parents that are having struggles with some of their kids so they can get in there and kind of help alleviate some of those concerns that they might have. Through Children's Mental Health Initiative, we have expanded our intensive in-home services with Greater Min, so have a therapist that goes in and works with the children to prevent out-of-home placements as well. They are actively recruiting another provider to do that as well. They're a wonderful service for us to have. It's really done wonders for us, so we're hoping that the next one gets filled relatively soon. And then as a department, we have been more proactive in screening our cases when they're rising to the level of needing to have our intervention so that we can get some of those upfront services in place. So again, we can prevent those out-of-home placements that are often quite expensive and quite costly. All right, this is gonna be the biggest focus of this, and if you remember my presentation last year, I read off of it just because my mind kind of goes in all directions, so I'll do the same for this one. We're gonna talk about the MAFPA legislation, which is gonna take effect for January 1, 2027 for Todd County.
American.
Look at that, I made it all the way to the last slide, and I got one. Minnesota African American Family Preservation Act. It's written as African American families, but it's any population that's overrepresented in child protection. So that could be mental health, that could be poverty, that could be any of those different population facts. When we did the assessment on it, we had came to the conclusion 75 to 80% of our cases would fall under that. So it's really gonna affect our county quite dramatically. So from that, it's really gonna change the way that child protection runs. It's gonna be a lot more preventative work. It's gonna be a lot more family preservation work rather than immediate placement. So when we're talking about higher standard of engagements, we're gonna have to provide families with active efforts, which means we're gonna actually have to be out there helping them do what they need to do. So just to kind of put your headspace in what we're talking about. So let's say a kid has been removed from the home due to ongoing illicit drug use by the family. Parents are enrolled in parenting education, chemical dependency treatment, but they're not going to those sessions every week. So under the new legislation, we are going to have to help them enroll in those services. We're gonna have to help them get to those services. We're gonna have to remove any barriers that is getting in the way from them attending that service. Traditionally, we would have said, hey, you have a session, you need to get there. That's all we would have done. Now we would be like, we'll be there, we'll pick you up, we'll drive you there, we'll wait for you, we'll bring you home, we'll make sure that you're doing what you need to do, all those kind of things. We're talking about family preservation. That's the assumption that kids are best served in their birth home and their relative home. So let's say we have a report about inadequate housing, parents are struggling with untreated depression. The kids aren't in immediate danger, but there are some environmental hazards that we're worried about. Traditionally, we would have filed a petition with the court asking for temporary custody while they worked on that. Under the new legislation, we're gonna provide them supports up front and allow the kids to stay in the home. We're gonna give them emergency rental assistance or housing vouchers, in-home services or mental health supports, engage their extended family in safety planning and family group decision-making to see how they can really be supported. All these things that we're talking about, it's gonna be a lot of time. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a lot of time for the worker. It's traditional social work, this is how you work a family, but it's just gonna be a lot more time for you to do it, if that makes sense.
And what I assume you said new home services, there were some other things, there's like a whole criteria or whole like laundry list underneath some of those categories, like new home services would be bing, 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 bing.
Correct. It might be, like, we've had a family that has housing conditions, so we've looked at having them housed in a hotel for a few days while they really work on cleaning up the house. Or it might be, we've given money to the transfer station for them to haul loads of garbage out to the transfer station. So it kind of, there's a plethora of options that fall underneath all those different options, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're talking about kinship placement. Let's say a kid's been removed, right? They have a family member that steps forward, but that family member might have limited resources for them. They might have a small apartment, those kind of things. Under the new legislation, traditionally, we would have just looked past it and said, well, you might have a licensing worry that we can't place a kid with you, or you're not able to meet their needs without the foster care payment. Under the new legislation, we're gonna really have to be lenient in some of those things. We're gonna have to provide supports, furniture, clothing, gas vouchers, whatever that may look like to help them support that child in their home, those kind of things. When I get to the increased oversight and accountability, this really falls under the courts. We do a really good job of providing accurate information to the courts, but under the new legislation, we're gonna have to provide all of the documentation of all the efforts that we're doing. We can't just give you a list and say, we brought them to chemical dependency treatment, we brought them to their visits, we're actually gonna have to explain what that means and how in-depth that went. And traditionally, when we got to that point of having to give a laundry list of what they've done, traditionally, if they hadn't met their requirements, we would be terminating their parental rights. Under the new legislation, we'll really have to explain why we need to terminate their parental rights. It's not because they didn't complete their services, it's because they didn't complete their services and they're still a safety risk or dangerous within that home, if that makes sense.
What, if I can ask, just, what you don't know, you don't know, like, what, the name of this legislation implies that it's for an African-American person of descent. Is there like a, what's the measure, is there like a, how do you determine, obviously, that they're of African-American descent? Is there like a, what's that process look like?
I'll take that answer two parts, because there's two parts to that answer to the question. The way it's written into legislation is they have to provide, if they provide input that they have African-American ancestry, that's what you work off of.
An ancestry.
If they can relate ancestry back to Africa, that's what you work off of. It's kind of similar to our Indian Child Welfare Act, where you have to trace lineage and you have to get verification. This one you don't have to get verification from.
Do we do that on the county level, the verification?
As far as an Indian child, or as far?
Right, like I can walk in and I say, I'm gonna prove that my ancestry has African of descent.
There's not real sound advice, there's not real
So we don't know
sound
who,
practice.
they haven't told us who's gonna do that or how we're gonna do it?
For that piece, no, but there's also a piece in the legislation that writes about the overrepresented classes, that DCYF is gonna have that on a yearly basis, what qualifies you for the legislation. So it could be anything, and it could be a moving target that changes every year as well.
Did you say the underrepresented classes?
Overrepresented, I'm sorry, yeah.
So that's why it's really a disproportionality act is what we're calling it. So any child with even poverty. So it's really it could be almost anybody is what could be inclusive. And it's really more asking for more active efforts when working with families in general.
Correct.
So it's gonna include 100% of the kids that we deal with. And we're not gonna wanna treat one class differently than we treat another. Makes sense.
And the way we've been approaching with our staff too is kind of like, we're just gonna make this across the board. We're just gonna be providing active efforts. Because all it takes is for one family to talk to another family and say, well, I had all these services and this is how I got it. That it's gonna spread and it's just gonna be everywhere. So it's just easier to approach it across the board.
It's branded really bad then, because
It is.
it's basically
really
saying if I'm African descent, but it's not. It's gonna be
It's gonna be all kids.
poverty, brown, purple, red, white, whatever, orange, green.
Anything, mental health, poverty,
Okay.
domestic violence, whatever you want to say, drug abuse, there could be
I'd
anything.
fire that marketing company. Go ahead, sorry.
You hit me at the end of it, actually, to tell you the truth. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be a shift in your mindset and your practice. You're gonna come with the intention that you're keeping kids together with their families. It's just gonna be a shift.
What's tough is I know when reports come in, you've all received those calls that we haven't done enough, we haven't taken these children, why hasn't child protection done that? This is gonna even tie our hands even more. There's gonna be a lot more effort that we are going to need to provide for handholding to get people to their appointments. Whether it be us picking them up, taking them home, sitting in the clinic, going to school, making phone calls, and then yet not to mention a very archaic system that we work out of that can't even pull the data. Literally, we are pulling each chart and chicken scratching these numbers. It is, and that was one of the initiatives with this legislative session through Representative Wiener is we're not saying we won't or can't do this or even move forward with this, but how about when we get a system that can support it? Because right now we don't have a information system that can even support the work that we have to do. So when DHS comes in, or maybe even federally with this recent OCR request under former President Biden, we were manually pulling each case and tallying them in a very archaic way that when you have human intervention, there's gonna be error. And that's the system that we are left with. And it's gonna cost us a lot of money, a lot of resources, which is staff.
What's the effective date of this?
January 1, 2027 is when it takes effect. for us.
2027.
Yep, it's already in Ramsey and Hennepin County. I've been working through it just to kind of implementation, because obviously there's a higher population there. 2026 is gonna be a lot of training for the other counties that aren't doing it, just to kind of see what it looks like, and then 2027 we go live, and it all changes.
I just find it honestly completely idiotic that we got something we don't know how it's gonna get implemented and what the testing is and all this stuff, and now we're gonna spend taxpayer dollars on training and whatnot. Not that, I mean, you're doing what you should be doing, I appreciate that 100%, but having some more clarification as to, seem like there's a lot of framework, but no steps to get up to the next level. Anyway, sorry. Not sorry, but. Anybody else, questions? Randy?
Generational of these cases, are we seeing that yet? A lot of it?
It's, that primary prevention that you really, for the effort that you put up front, pays off in the end. And it's a double-edged sword, because what we spend to do it today is gonna be generational in the end. Not only for the child, but for the taxpayers. And sometimes they say it takes 5 generations to fix that. Our out-of-home placements, I think, will show that. Every effort that we put up front will help in the end. Our costs have been, when you compare us to contiguous counties or across the state, have been average to lower. I know we did have an uptick locally here in the last budget season, but again, those efforts that we put up front that John and Breezy and Derek are working with their team on should pay off in the end. So that's really what we are striving for, is put those efforts in up front to save in those out-of-home placements in the end. And it's for the kids and the families as well, so.
I can speak to it a little bit too, is just seeing from staff reporting that they're working with families with older kiddos, but there's still younger kiddos coming up underneath them too. And so the interventions, you do the best you can with what you can, but I think it does really help prepare parents for the younger children too, so that they're not facing the same issues when they're coming up. When it's in regards to mental health, they have a better understanding of what resources are available to them, how to access them,
where to go for them too. So I do think it makes an impact and pretty quickly too, so.
And we have a lot of windshield time with our families because we're not, you know, the metro where we have all these resources. It's taking us longer to get there. And to find the right resources for these kids is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, and not, I mean, we just don't have the same resources as some of our larger counties.
Okay, questions more? No, thank you very much. Wonderful.
I appreciate the work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bad for what we had there.
We gotta get the finance, right?
What's that?
We're not bad for what we had there.
Yeah, no.
You guys have more over the finance.
No, they're gonna be